You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio. We are here again, and just like any other time, we have another show, and this time we have an artist that's going to talk to us today about her music career, Lady Redneck. She's going to share with us about some of her recent projects and also how she got into the industry. So first and foremost, Lady Redneck, how are you doing today?
I am so fabulous. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, I appreciate you being on. So before we get started, kind of tell us a little bit about your background, where'd you grow up, and understanding reading your bio. You have family, in music, so it definitely is something that, you didn't start by yourself.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. So I grew up in Idaho in a really small town. It was like literally population 23 until I was 10 years old. And so it was mostly just my family and cousins and grandparents and then like a couple other families. And my dad and mom were always in bands and always doing shows. And then as soon as us girls were old enough to hold guitars and fiddles and stuff, they got us started. And so we did the whole family band where y'all switch instruments, and we did all sorts of shows and fair circuits and weddings and corporate events and everything in between. So it was such a fun way to grow up.
And the band was Dusty Boots. So tell us a little bit about the experience just being in a band, and what was some of the things that you learned along the way as far as maybe the music business and just the structure, how it flows?
Oh, that's such a good question. Yeah. So, and the funny thing is because it was such a way of life, it's just what our family did. I didn't even realize how maybe different it is to other people, but just we grew really, really close. We grew to where we could just read each other's minds, which musically it was amazing. We would know when to build, when to cut things off and do crazy stuff, and had all these funny little inside jokes, and then just funny and just a lot of awesome showmanship. Know when to bring out the fiddle, know when to bring out a drum solo, and it just made it like magical.
Y'all had a lot of success, over 40,000 CDs sold with Dusty Boots. I mean, that's a lot. I mean, look on the outside looking in, did you ever personally pay attention to those numbers, or was it something that you just kind of naturally like, okay, cool, we did that?
A little bit of both. We did shows all the time, and so it's like, you're doing shows and you don't really realize how much of it's adding up. And then when when the numbers are getting higher and I'm starting to hear about it, it's kind of amazing and exciting. And so then I started paying more attention when we started selling as many as we did. But so it was just fun. I guess that was a journey per se. So.
When you look at how you got started in the industry, you started young. How did you get the name Lady Redneck, and what's the story behind just that portion of your journey?
Yes, that's a great question. So I moved down. I'm living in Texas now, and all my family is still up in Idaho, and they still play some shows and do some music stuff, but it's not the same as when we were all together. But in about 2016, I decided to record one of the songs that I had written. And I didn't usually share my music or the songs that I'd written. And we had actually recorded some of my dad's music and played some of his songs that he'd written in our band. But I was, nervous and a little bit apprehensive about what, people would think about my music, but I felt like there was a song that I really wanted to record. And so I saved up and recorded it. And then I just literally put it online, and I didn't have a big page at the time. I didn't have a social media following. I didn't really have much of anything, but I put it out there, and the song did really good. It got to where I had some, internet radio stations and stuff writing me, hey, can we play your song? And then the next thing I knew, it was on a couple of countdowns, and then it actually ended up winning a songwriting contest. And I think that was just enough to spur my confidence and say, okay, maybe I can do this. And I'd always felt like music is what God wanted me to do anyway. And I think it may have taken the right song for me to just actually break out of my shell and say, okay, yeah. And so the whole Lady Redneck thing, I just realized I didn't totally answer your question. On my first CD, on my first album, I think it was like my fourth song, I had written a song called Rednecky Inside. And it just talked about how we're all like down to earth. We all do these kind of rednecky things, like, and just kind of like, so that, you know, we don't need to all be uptight or whatever. That there's little silly things that maybe we all do. And I just thought people would really relate to it. And while I was recording it, my husband and my producer, Brad Davis, my husband is John and my producer, who is Brad Davis, they were talking and they're like, she's like a redneck Maryland or like a Lady Redneck. And they were just on there laughing and I was like, what's so funny? And I walked in there and they're like, and they told me what they had said. And I was like, oh yeah. And I just kind of owned it. And I was like, yeah, I'm Lady Redneck. And we just were joking, but it just kind of stuck. It just kind of fit. And so just took it and ran with it. So that's kind of how the name came about.
You have a lot of following on social media. How have you tackled, self-promotion, marketing, and also using other resources to help you navigate that part of the industry?
That part has been really fun because besides music, what I really love is marketing. And I've always been like had this entrepreneur spirit, and so and the marketing is almost my favorite part of it. So to think that I could make a difference and help my music get heard through marketing was just really fun for me. And I love making connections. I love meeting people, and so it's just been a way to interact with my fans and like get my music out there. And I actually have made a ton of friends this way, and I feel like it's been just such a great way to connect and really promote the music. So that's kind of how I've done it. And in fact, because I had a baby right after I got started, and so she was so small that I couldn't tour and I wasn't doing live shows. So really, that was the only way that I could get my music out. So
this is I Am Refocused Radio, talking to our guest today, Lady Redneck. And when you look at the opportunities to be in the industry, being able to be in the industry for so long, like for yourself, it's not easy to do. It's not easy to stay in an industry that's already high level competition and just a lot of people are in it. For you as an artist, how did you develop your own sound, and how did you find a way to stay true to your unique self?
I love your questions. Again, your interviews are awesome. So for me, because I am a songwriter, I think when you're a songwriter, you have a distinct advantage because you can't hide who you are. In your music, your songs reflect you. It's louder than words that you would say. So I think by being the songwriter of so many of the songs, it's just allowed me to stay true to myself because I literally couldn't hide it if I wanted to. People can see me. They just see the real me. And so I think by being a songwriter, I would say.
I'm sorry, I think you cut off.
Oh, sorry. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think by being a songwriter, I've been a little more able to stay true to who I am, as well as, once again, I do love marketing and I love the whole branding idea and just coming up with having the name Lady Redneck and be a reflection of who I am, and then being able to write my music together. It's still been a journey, and I hope my friends and fans that do listen have seen a progression where hopefully I'm getting better as I'm going along. Right? As an artist, you'd always hope for that. So I think that those things combined, being a songwriter and then just being interesting in branding and social media, it's made it easier to stay true to who I am.
Like I said before, you have an impressive following online. So what's your secret sauce? I mean, I know you said be true to yourself and be yourself. That's definitely a big part of it. But there's also kind of knowing what you got to do, right? Engaging with fans, engaging with people, creating content, and things of that nature. So, what has been your trial and error on testing what seems to work for your brand?
Yeah, that's such a good question. For me, being true to who I am is exactly what made the difference, because I am very patriotic and I'm also very Christian. And those two things, because of the content I share, I've attracted a very specific demographic. And I think when artists come out, sometimes they're scared to make a stand or say something because, I mean, especially with a political thing, which is very dangerous. All companies and management teams will say, do not go into politics. Because once you pick a side, you're already at least 50%. You know what I mean? You've already divided yourself. But I think by taking a stand, and it doesn't have to be politics, because I actually don't like that side of it. I feel like it's very contentious, but maybe like but I do love freedom, and just the fact that I love freedom, and I'm trying not to get into the pick a side type of thing, but by taking a stand on what I do care about, it attracts those very specific fans anyway. And so I think that as a musician or as an artist that was trying to get themselves out there, if you do have a couple of things that you are very passionate about, whether it's pets or riding horses, or maybe it's mixing and mastering, whatever 2 or 3 interests you have besides your music, you're going to be attracting fans as you share a little bit more about yourself. And I wouldn't go too broad. That's why I think probably 3 is a great number of kind of keep your music centered around maybe 2 or 3 personality or characteristics of yourself. And then you've got fans coming in from all of those directions.
Let's talk about the music as far as how you write and some of the topics you talk about. You mentioned your faith. What some of the songs that you try to put out there for the world?
So I actually didn't do any Christian music until 2021. And it was around December of 2021, I started feeling this strong feeling that I needed to make some changes. And for about a month, I was in this deep kind of soul-searching emotional state. And it just came to me that I really needed to be doing Christian music. And I love Christ. I love being a Christian, but I had never thought about going into that aspect of it. But something at that time turned my heart. And so all of the songs, even as I'd sit down to write, they were about Christ. Like one of the very first ones that I came out with was After the Rain, You'll Find the Sun, being spelled S-O-N. And it just, I feel like whatever happened during that time, and I almost feel like that this may be a global thing. I've seen more and more people about the same time that have also made a distinct change in their lives to follow Christ about the same time. And so it makes me wonder if collectively, if it's just getting closer to when he comes again, or just a division maybe between people overall, between following the light or going the other way. And but at that time, I just consciously and subconsciously, I guess, made the decision to just help bring more light into people's lives. And the best way for me to do that was through music. And so I've released, I think, only 3 country songs since then, and the rest have literally been Christian. And I just think that it's, just a great way to bring light to the world and make people happy, because where the world is so contentious right now and so dark, that just to bring some joy and good news, which is to me the gospel, then it helps just lift the overall good feeling in that area.
I mean, you also have done Christmas music as well. So having a variety of, I guess you can say, themes, how has that contributed to your creative process and understanding the fact that you have a diverse portfolio?
Yeah, I think that it is actually substantially helped because then I understand all the aspects of it more so. I think they're always more rounded if let's say you get a new job and your job is pest control, but you're the one on the line selling it. If you can go out there and maybe learn how, you spray or you do different things, if you can go through all of the aspects of that particular job, you just have a better understanding. And with music, I feel like it's the same way. And so learning some of the industry practices and the marketing and the management and some of those other key aspects of music, I don't know that it's helped my music per se, but I think as an individual and as somebody that's striving to get themselves out there and compete with maybe other musicians, it's helped me be more well-rounded as well as just knowing what to do and what not to do.
You come across as a very humble person. Was that something that you kind of was all about growing up when you was first into music, or was that something that you grew into?
You know what? That is such a compliment. Thank you so much for saying that. I grew up actually in just a really humble environment, and I think I think that's just more of my spirit, like who I really am. I pretty much love everybody, and I don't have like a hate bone in my body, and so maybe when you're saying that, maybe that's coming across. I'm not sure, but it makes me really happy that you said that.
No, I asked because you're talking in a tone where it's like, I mean, you're very successful. You have a impressive following online, and obviously you got a nice history and units sold and just people appreciating your music. But then it's like almost like a carefree, like, and what, like, yeah, and what? And I think that's cool because sometimes we can be in this culture where it's just straight up competition. Like people only worry about numbers and they don't worry about the song's meaning or, the vibe of the song. Like sometimes we get caught up into the number game versus like, is this actually the sound? Is it translating from my, mind, heart, and soul to the person that's listening? So I think that's commendable for artists to have that kind of mindset.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
When you look at the industry, like I said, you have a diverse portfolio being to country side of music and you're doing more faith-based stuff. How has maybe some professional friends reacted to your music change? Because making that switch, whether it's from secular to faith or faith to secular, it can raise eyebrows. So what was the reaction to maybe professional colleagues?
Yeah, that's such a good point because it definitely can raise eyebrows. And I feel like the majority of my core fans were just supportive and just love me either way. And so they've been supportive, even if it's maybe not their favorite genre of music. They've still overall been really supportive. The interesting thing was I got my first, I guess you'd say, real hater when I switched to Christian music. And that was a surprise to me because I didn't really have one like that before when I did country. And when I switched over to Christian, you'd almost think that it would be the opposite. But as far as just professional, friends and neighbors, overall they've been supportive. You can tell, there's people that like it better, and there's quite a few people who don't like it as much as well. But I think because I maybe have such a good connection with a lot of different followers online that they still are just supportive and enjoy the journey. And hopefully it's helped strengthen their faith as well. And we help each other,
That's I Am Refocused Radio, talking to our guest today, Lady Redneck. You can follow her on X. Everyone calls it Twitter. Like me, I still call it Twitter. You can follow her at Lady_Rednecky. And if you have other social media platforms that you're active, real quick for our audience and viewers, how can people find you in other places?
Yeah, if you just literally on Google, just type in Lady Redneck, I'm sure my Facebook, my Instagram, my LinkedIn, my TikTok pages will all come up. And I do on my website and on those social media platforms, I have links to the other social media accounts as well if you want to see more. So I would love to connect on there.
What excites you about the music industry that you're part of? Do you see anything in the future that you expect to kind of change? Because as an artist, you are always trying to worry about, okay, what's the next latest, greatest technology, maybe the best next new microphone or, studio equipment, instruments. What are some of the things that you're paying attention to as you are anticipating the music always changing in the industry?
I think what's been on my mind the most is just the whole AI movement. We actually had a friend that recorded a song that was an AI written song, which I remember when ChatGPT, when all of a sudden, I think it was last December or something, all of a sudden it was made public and everybody, ChatGPT. And I got on there and I did a prompt about, write me a song. I want, 3 verses. I want a chorus. I want it to be this many lines. And I gave it very specific parameters and it wrote an amazing song. And I was like, oh, dang. But I haven't gone any farther with AI at all as far as songwriting. I just wanted to see what it could do. But my producer was we were talking about a friend that went ahead and recorded one of those songs that AI had written. And I guess there were 14 different accounts where parts of the song were taken from other music because AI just takes stuff that's already online, right? And it combines it. But that part of it, just because I've seen it in business make such a big difference as far as writing courses, writing books, writing whatever, I guess my mind has been really focused on how it's going to change the music industry as well. And my sister, who also does music, she was telling me about how she had, there was an AI site where she did a quick song on her Logic or whatever, on her mixing board, and sent it to AI, and it totally mixed it down for her. And I was like, oh, wow. So I guess my mind's a little bit on that. I worry in a little sense because I don't like taking the human aspect out of music. To me, and when we start losing that, that's when it's not music. You don't have the same feeling. You don't have the same connection, the same spirit with it, I feel, is when it's AI. So I like what you're saying about the microphone and the technology and all that, but I think for me, my mind has been really kind of on the whole AI experience and how and what it's going to do to music.
Yeah, I love you said that because I love music myself personally, and there's a lot of different emotions out there, right? There's people who absolutely love it, and they love it from the point of view that there's this opportunity to sharpen your polish, sound or lyrics or what have you. And there's others who feel like, whoa, this might be heartless because what if it only writes and there's no input from the human side? So I think maybe a healthy blend, we're probably going to see people probably just keep testing and trying different ways it can enhance the original sound. And like I said, everyone who says they're expert at this, I laugh because I think we're all trying, right? We're all trying to test it. We're all trying to be the pioneers of the future. So when someone claims that they're the expert of this AI stuff, I just kind of say, time out, because we're all kind of learning this thing together. And I think too much of it definitely kind of loses the soul of the sound of the human side. Just like in business, I interview a lot of business owners, and they're saying for them it's a healthy blend. It's like polishing the email or polishing a report, but the data is drawing from is data from like our brand. So our invoices and how we roll and, structure our, processes and whatnot. We are developing systems with AI versus saying, hey, make me a magic pill. I don't think that's going to work, whether it's business or music. But as I ramble, when you look at the opportunity, though, to use AI as a tool to kind of sharpen your vision, if you will, what in some ways do you think you might be able to kind of just test some things and see where it can go as far as using that technology?
And I'm glad that I really liked what you said, because I really think if we use it that way to enhance or to polish what we're doing, but not use it as a way to come up with our own creative ideas. I don't think it's maybe per se the best idea, but I liked what you said about enhancing, and I think that that's going to be the key that will make the difference, is if we can find that balance. And I mean, as you were talking, I was thinking, gosh, I could use it. I mean, I could use it as a prompt. Even maybe I'm having a songwriting block, and I just put in there, write me this verse. And of course, I wouldn't use that, but it may give me an idea of what maybe to put in my song, and a different thought pattern, maybe to pattern that next verse on, or a different sound that maybe I hadn't thought of in the past. So I think that, actually, now that we're talking, I may explore it a little more, but just the way that you said, the way that, as an enhancement, as just not a means to an end, but just as a way to just maybe make something a little better.
Let me share a little secret, man. I had a friend, he's also into this AI stuff, whether it's graphics. I mean, it's everywhere. From graphics, Photoshop uses AI now, from sounds to writing, business or music, arts, whatever. What he gave me was, I'm going to say this for you and our listeners. Next time you write your prompts, and next time you get like all this stuff from like YouTube University or, someone's other podcasts or social media posts, write in quotations everything about you. So like your personality, what your likes are, what your dislikes are, and write these prompts that are tailor-made to who you are. And then what he was saying is it allows to have more of that human touch of who you actually are as a person versus just say, make me a hit song about, country music, sun rising over the hills. That's one part of the process. But if you took time to write in quotes a little bit about yourself, this is what I feel like when I wake up in the morning, I'm drinking coffee. This is just an example. That is such more detailed prompt that is going to allow AI, whether it's AI or if it's ChatGPT or any other ones that are out there, it really gives you a better result that's like 3D versus one-dimensional. Because one-dimensional is like, hey, make me a hit song about red kites. Well, and what? What about your personality? What about what you like? Maybe you talk about a quotation part. Like, even because, like, when you write in a flow, like a conversation, like, I like that part, but when I was younger, I had a red kite that my dad gave me. Boom, now you change the game because now you have a revised result.
Wow.
So that's dropping some gems, man. Well, I look at it like a tool, it's like a tool.
Yeah.
So
that's amazing. It's like taking literally a part of you and putting it inside. That's pretty amazing.
It's almost like
that's amazing.
You look at it. Yeah, can't take credit. My friend gave me this good knowledge, but I look at it this way: you can use AI as if like you have like 5 employees, and they align with your vision. Or you use AI as like a genie and you hope that it gives you what you want.
Right.
It's going to be a different level to the game as far as who's going to benefit from it. Because if you use it as a genie, you're going to be limited with your results. If you use it as this is my team and we're building this vision of who I am or who I'm trying to be or whatever, now I think you're onto something pretty good. Because AI does everything. Everything. And we're just warming up, man. I know the show ain't about AI. We're talking about our guest today, Lady Redneck.
Yeah, but this is so interesting. Yeah. This is awesome. No, I'm really glad that you said what you did, because you're opening my eyes up too, because it's been on my mind a lot, but I have not explored it as much as, it's just been on the back burner. So this is all really interesting to me.
And I see it like across the board, because like I said, I interview a ton of people in business world who are their own boss, and They manage a lot of employees. A lot of them who like AI, they don't see it as a substitute. They see it more like an option. So it's like, instead of building everything from scratch, I can put up systems and how I make these prompts to who I am as a person. And now AI can come along with the ride and sharpen up the focus of what I'm trying to do, my core message. So that's a different perspective because, like you said, when you see people hop on board, you know, it was just like everyone's just jumping in the ocean.
Yeah.
But now you got to build a boat, a ship, and it has to be safe, and you have to upgrade it, and you have to like maintain it. So I know I'm throwing these crazy metaphors, but what I'm trying to say in a nutshell is that the art is still the human touch. And that's what you said. So I'm taking what you said earlier because that's the case. The human touch is everything. So wrapping things up, if someone's listening right now and they want to know about maybe some future music projects you're going to be doing or any potential events in the future, what's the best way they can find your updates?
I would say jump on social media. I do have a website and it's super fun, but social media, I'm literally on there every single day. And I love actually like talking and corresponding with different people. So definitely jump on Instagram, TikTok, wherever, Facebook.
Well, like always, been talking to our guest today, Lady Redneck. Like we tell everybody, appreciate your time.
It was honestly my pleasure. Thank you so much for your time as well.